Hey everyone, welcome to our Understanding Jiu Jitsu series. In this series, we're going to be discussing how we think and talk about the game of Jiu Jitsu. Jiu Jitsu can be defined in many different ways, as a sport, martial art, but we look at it as a problem-solving game, where the end goal of the game is always the submission, starting from the standing scenario. In the standing scenario, we have three possible actions we want to keep an eye out for. These actions are takedowns, guard pulls, and submissions. Now let's discuss the categories within each of these three actions. First is the hand category, where you mainly use your hands and arms to take your opponent down, such as the double leg takedown. Second is the leg takedowns, where you mainly use your legs and feet to take your opponent down, like the Sasai. Third is the hip and shoulder category, like the Ogoshi. And finally, we have the sacrifice takedowns, where you momentarily sacrifice your top position to finally end up on top, like the Sumigage. Usually, when we successfully take our opponent down, we end up inside their guard. And what is a guard? A guard is when your opponent utilizes their whole body, mainly their legs, to prevent you from passing to a more dominant position. So your goal as the top player is to pass your opponent's guard. And we have four possible routes to accomplish that. The first route will be going around your opponent's guard, like the Toreando pass. The second route can be through your opponent's guard, like the knee slice. The third possible route can be going under your opponent's legs, like the single underpass. And the fourth route can be over your opponent, like the cartwheel pass. Passing your opponent's guard can be one of the toughest parts of Jiu Jitsu, so you may have to use a combination of all of these routes in order to get to the next phase, which is the control phase. There are 5 basic controls in Jiu Jitsu at your disposal. We have the side control, the knee on belly, the mount, the north-south, and the 5th basic control, the back control. And depending on your opponent's reactions, you may find yourself having to transition between all of these controls. As the top player in the control situation, your goal is to control your opponent. And you have 3 possible actions you can perform from any control. You can keep the control, you can submit your opponent, or you can transition between controls. Once you've gained control over your opponent, you have a higher chance of success to reach the end goal of Jiu Jitsu, the submission. So if you are in one of the 5 basic controls of Jiu Jitsu, your goal is to always look for the submission. And those submissions will always come from 2 different categories, joint locks or strangleholds, which we will discuss in a future video. And now we're going to talk a little bit more about the guard position. So we already defined what a guard is, which is the utilization of your legs against your opponent. And now we're going to talk about 3 different ranges of guard. Close range guards are guards where you mainly use your inner thighs to control your opponent, like the close guard. Mid-range guards are guards where you mainly use your shins to control your opponent, like the butterfly guard. And long-range guards are guards where you mainly use the soles of your feet to control your opponent, like the spider guard. Besides that, you can also have 3 different actions on any guard. You can sweep your opponent, submit your opponent, or take their back. And just like any guard, it is both an offensive and defensive measure. And just a side note, not always things go as planned. So sometimes it may be that you're planning to successfully take your opponent down, but instead you get taken down. Still, you'll be able to perform actions from there Alternatively, it may be that you are successful in taking your opponent down and you're expecting to pass their guard, but you are already in a control. So then you would just continue your set of actions from there. You don't need to necessarily go through A, B, C, D, as in taking your opponent down, passing their guard, controlling, and then submitting. It may be that you find yourself already in a control and you skipped B. Or it may be that you started being controlled, then you have to escape and make your way back to standing. So just be ready to problem solve. I hope this has helped you in understanding Jiu Jitsu. Again, your end goal in Jiu Jitsu is always the submission. So wherever you are, look for it.